Happy Earth Day, recycle more. Happy Earth Day. I would like to pass a motion that we adopt Zero Waste Day, created by young people, led by young people. So if you agree with me, give me some finger snaps. Excellent, excellent, excellent. My name is Marvin Hayes, and I'm the program manager for the Baltimore Compost Collective. We are a youth-led food scrap collection service. And before I get started, as Miss Melanie said, I must make a disclaimer that even if you have received your vaccine of choice, and even though we are virtual, I am contagious, and it is my intent to give you compost fever. I am a compost fever long hauler. I have had compost fever for the last 5 years, and me and my young people from Ben Franklin High School, all of my youth composters are responsible for the composting pandemic that is happening in Baltimore City. And the need to educate Baltimore City residents that you can turn your organic waste, like your coffee grinds, your garden trimmings, your vegetables and food scraps, and add it with a little bit of carbon, air, and water, and turn it into this black, dark humus, crumbly humus that I love to call black gold, We serve the amazing Filbert Street Garden, as you guys know, that I love to call the Wakanda of South Baltimore. The reason why I call it the Wakanda of South Baltimore is because one of my favorite quotes from the Black Panther movie was, "In times of crisis, while the foolish build barriers, the wise create bridges." So Filbert Street Garden is that bridge to close the digital divide, to provide free internet for the residents who live in that area, to provide rescue homes for animals like chickens, goats, and ducks, and use them to educate our young people that live in Curtis Bay. And also, our goal is to educate the affected youth and residents of Baltimore City who are being affected by incineration. We collect food scraps from Curtis Bay, Brooklyn, Mount Washington, Federal Hill, Locust Point, and Riverside. And we bring it back to the Filbert Street Garden, and we process it, and we turn it into black gold soil enhancer for residents that live in a food apartheid neighborhood. It's so important, the work that Rich, my man Rich, Brother Eric, big shout outs to you, raised in Cherry Hill, is creating a market, because these people live in a food insecure neighborhood where it takes them about a half an hour to get to the market. So me, my composting pioneers from those communities provide their food waste, and we turn it into soil enhancer. And as everybody has echoed, when you put compost soil enhancer back into the soil, it creates carbon. It sequesters carbon. And with carbon, you have healthy soil and you have healthy vegetables. Just want to, just before I get started, I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight, but I just want to give big shout outs to the young people on this line, our future environmental justice leaders. Let's give them a big finger snap for all the great work that they are doing. We are leaving this place. This is a example that if we just support our young people, look what they can do. Look what our young people can do. So young people, continue your great work. I am so excited about all the amazing things that you are doing. And it is amazing to see your growth and your development and become the environmental justice leaders that Baltimore City needs to lead us to the path towards zero waste. And we know we cannot do that without education. So I have been blessed to work with an amazing group of environmental justice leaders from Johns Hopkins University, who created a survey so that one of the goals for the Baltimore Compost Collective is to make curbside composting accessible for all the residents of Baltimore City. So if Greg, if you can, Greg, big shout outs to you for supporting these young people, man, and giving them a voice, man. So thank you. I didn't know when you and Destiny walked into the after school program that I was working for Miss Melanie, that my life would be led in this way. So thank you so much for exposing me and educating me about that beast that we call Bresco the incinerator. So we surveyed 138 residents across Baltimore City about composting. And this is the information that we got. An overwhelming 97% of the respondents approved of composting. So let's make composting happen. We only had 1% that didn't know enough to make an opinion. So we can make curbside composting accessible. The same way when you put out your recyclables, we don't want it to go to the incinerator, but we want you to be able to put down your food scraps and it be taken to a large-scale facility to be processed. 87% approved of composting because it diverts food scraps from going into the incinerator and the landfills. So we had 97 approved of diverting our food waste from going into the landfills and incinerators and creating harmful chemicals like carbon dioxide and methane gas. 64% approved of composting because it helps improve soil health and promotes local community gardens. And Filbert Street Garden is a prime example of that, the Wakanda of South Baltimore. So we got 97% of Baltimore City residents saying that we can divert that material and send it to our gardens, create 3-bin systems, and create this black gold organic humus. Let's get to it. There was a strong interest in composting, but people expressed the lack of guidance. People need free curbside compost pickup and not having a compost bin, and the main barriers for composting. So we want to provide curbside pickup for residents. We want to educate. We know that education is the only way, the only highway to zero waste. Next one, please. Then we also asked, how do people feel about incineration? 82% of Baltimore City residents worry about incineration because of air pollution, and it creating $55 million in health damages. 82% air pollution, 73% inequitable public health impacts, and not being sustainable, 31%, and 19% of the others. Next slide, please. 73% who oppose of incineration express concerns about how it has created an inequitable public health crisis in Baltimore City. So people know that incineration is killing the residents of Baltimore City. I am getting ready to end my OSI fellowship, and my goal for my OSI fellowship was to educate the affected residents of Baltimore City with an emphasis on anti-incineration. When I go into the school systems of Curtis Bay and Brooklyn, I ask 2 questions. 1, what is your favorite fruit and vegetable? Because they can be composted. 2, are any of your family affected by asthma and cancer? When the hands are raised, 98% of those students are affected by asthma. The teacher then goes into her desk drawer and pulls out a bag of inhalers. So we must continue to fight this fight because we are losing our children and losing our residents. This is real. So we must choose the alternative to incineration and choose composting. Next slide, please. Let's invest in Baltimore City's composting and recycling infrastructure to reach our zero waste starting right now. So what I'm asking for all the leaders on this line to please send this out to your constituents and have them fill out this composting survey so that I can present these stats to Baltimore City mayor's office and to the city council to let them know that Baltimore City wants curbside composting. Thank you so much, my amazing students from Johns Hopkins graduate program. Thank you for providing this resource. So let's get back to why should we composting? Composting circulates dollars in our communities, supporting local economy. It provides nutrients from wasted food and returns it to the earth and improves the health of the soil and also sequesters carbon and increases the nutrients of our food. Most importantly, each small-scale composting facility can divert 400 pounds of food scraps from going into the landfills and incinerators. Also, composting can create 2 to 4 times more jobs than the landfills and incinerators. So you're asking me, what can you do now? What we're asking you, all of my environmental justice leaders, we're asking you to create a 3-bin waste system in your house. One for your recyclables, one for your waste, and one for your compost. We are hoping that we can create, if you don't have, you cannot afford a service like the Baltimore Compost Collective, the Office of Sustainability has free compost drop off at both of the farmers market, one in Waverly and one in underneath of the Jones Falls Expressway. So please join with me as the campaign for the Baltimore Compost Collective. Education is the only way that we can get to zero waste. So we're going to continue to compost. We're going to learn so we don't have to burn, and we're going to starve that incinerator. We're going to feed the soil, and we're going to feed the community. Please watch the powerful document by The Guardian magazine, starring Baltimore Compost Collective and South Baltimore Land Trust, and Starving the Fire. We have to starve the fire. So thank you so much for this opportunity to present to you this evening. We can move Baltimore City towards zero waste. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with that one step. So make the first step of educating yourself on where your trash goes. Do you know that Baltimore County and Howard County bring their waste to Baltimore City to be burnt? Do you know that we are the only city in the country who has a landfill and an incinerator? So compost around is a terrible thing to waste. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Miss Melanie. Thank you to amazing young people of Baltimore City, my future environmental justice leaders. I can rest well when it's time for me to retire, knowing that I'm leaving it in your hands. So thank you so much. Thank you, South Baltimore Land Trust, for all the amazing work that you're doing and giving me the opportunity to train our young people on small scale composting. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you for all of the